So guys, as always, it starts with being on the internet. Looking at a lot of gaming videos, you do always see in the comments those huge console wars going on, PS4 versus Xbox. And, I kind of feel like the Xbox guys are on a different level of crazy. They just refuse to admit that Xbox is in a tough spot right now. One thing that I saw that got me super, just confused was this one guy says that Quantum Break was a wonderful game, that Crackdown 3 is going to be Game of the Year, and that PlayStation 4 has nothing to offer. They have terrible exclusion. They have terrible exclusives. Now, my reaction to this, which is probably yours, was this.
This is blasphemy. This is madness.
This guy had so much zeal that I sat there. I was like, how could I, am I just blind to the wonderfulness of Xbox? Did I make the wrong decision in buying my PlayStation? So, as you guys know, I'm an engineer, so I tried to decide that I will use science, I will use math to try to figure out, one, if Xbox is really better, or PlayStation. And at the end of it, I discovered two things. I discovered that PlayStation 4 has the better games, and that Xbox One owners are less intelligent than PlayStation owners. So let me show you guys how I did that. Alright, so this is how I did it. I have a spreadsheet in which I have all the Xbox One exclusives and all the PlayStation 4 exclusives. Okay? Now in these columns, I have the game name, the release date, whether it was AAA or AA, the Metacritic score. This is the Metacritic critic score, right? The Metacritic user score, and the game genre, right? So down here, I have the average total score for all the Xbox One exclusives. All right. So the average Metacritic critic score is about 77 percentage points out of 100. All right. The average Metacritic user score is about 65 percentage points out of 100. Now, let's compare that to PlayStation 4, which has a lot more exclusives. Like, oh my god, okay, almost 4 times as much. Okay, their average Metacritic score of all their exclusives are about 73%, and their average Metacritic user score is about 74%. This is much higher than Xbox One's user score by almost 10 percentage points. Okay, but what you'll notice is that, look at that, the averages for the critic score for Xbox is considerably higher than PlayStation 4. That's about 77, 73, about 4 percentage points higher. Okay, and there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is, yeah, PlayStation 4 has a lot more games, but some of them are stinkers. You see some reviews that are in like the 30 percentile. Okay, and the reason that this is because, in addition to catering to the Western audience, PlayStation also caters to the Eastern audience. This is China, Japan, Korea, right? And a lot of those games are based off of anime, right? And while there are good anime port games out there, there are quite a bit that are obviously just cash grabs. They're poorly made games, and they're meant such that if you're a fan of the anime, you're gonna buy the game. Straight up cash grabs, and this pulls down the average PS4 score a lot. And so how I accounted for that was that I said, okay, with Xbox, you have a library of only 20 games. Okay, you have 20 games to choose from, and that's it, nothing else. Okay, so how about we look at the top 20 games for PlayStation 4? All right, so PlayStation 4 has about 4 times as many games. So everything being equal, if we just look at the top 20, I feel that's a good assessment of the PS4 exclusives, because you have all that to choose from and more. Okay, so if you do that, you can see that of course, the average for Xbox One is going to stay unchanged, but the average for PS4 shoots up. Okay, it's now 80%. All right, for the Metacritic critic score, and a whopping 84%
for the PS4 user score. That is huge, my friends. That's huge, okay? And one thing that I think it's very important to note is the difference between the PlayStation 4 user score and Xbox One user score. PS4 owners are by and large much more happy with the games that they purchase than Xbox One owners. Alright, so for another part of the review. Alright, Xbox One owners being less intelligent than PlayStation 4 owners. And guys, this is somewhat of a joke. I jest, but a game critic's job is to judge games, right? So it's reasonable to assume that they know what they're talking about, right? So if we can trust the critics of being a good judge of games, right? Then it's not unreasonable to assume that the community whose users reviews most resemble the user reviews of the critics will be able to grapple on what a good game is. Alright, and there you have it. If proximity of the user reviews to the critical consensus is a measure of the intelligence of the community, then the Xbox community is far less intelligent than the PlayStation 4 community. But in all seriousness, guys, I just wanted to say that criticizing Microsoft does not make you any less of a Xbox fan. And I feel like the core Xbox fanboys needs to be more critical of Microsoft, or nothing's going to change. I'm going to name one other YouTuber in particular, very successful, 100 times more subscribers than me, Muscle-Bound Gamer, who I think pretty much embodies how this core of the Xbox fanboys think. And in his latest video that I saw, he said that, yeah, there's nothing really interesting coming out in 2017. I guess this Crackdown 3 and Halo Wars 2 is going to be the biggest that they're going to get this year, and that's okay. And that's not okay. That kind of thinking is this.
This is fine. I'm okay with the events that are unfolding currently. That's okay. Things are gonna be okay.
And MBG goes down to say that the reason this is because the goal of exclusives is to sell consoles, right? And Xbox really isn't trying to sell consoles right now. That's not the focus. And that is just wrong. Like that's not alright. And that's not right, because you're always trying to sell a console. Yes, the majority of the consoles that you sell in the first couple months after launch are the majority of the consoles will sell, but the rest of the consoles that will come in the coming months are not negligible. You still need that steady flow of sales coming through, right? And when any objective person is coming into the console market, or a father or mother is gonna go buy a game for their child, they're gonna see that one system has a ton more games, you know, or this is your average bloke, he's gonna see that one other system has a ton more games. Like, I cannot honestly see a reason to go to Xbox unless you are a fan of Forza. That is their only game that consistently always kills it. And Xbox can't even seem to keep hold of its exclusives. Word on the street is that Sunset Overdrive might actually be coming to the PS4. When asked why there wasn't a Sunset Overdrive 2, the studio said, "We don't know, ask Microsoft," right? So the studio obviously wants to make this game happen, right? And asked how, if the game would probably come to the market via another console, they said that they're very passionate about this IP, and they're going to pursue it with or without Microsoft. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if Sunset Overdrive 2 went to Sony? And I just don't understand, especially since there's nothing in Xbox lineup. You have a studio that wants to make this game. Go ahead and do it. But yeah, until the Xbox user base stands up and says this is not okay, until they have this kind of reaction.
This, this is not fine! Oh my god! Everything's on fire! There was no reason to let it last this long and get this bad!
Yeah, guys, that's a wrap. As always, if you liked the video, like, share, subscribe. Don't be a console. Also, a lot of cool stuff is going to come to this channel. I plan on launching a series pretty quick called Steam Gems, where it's going to talk about, of course, there's that point in every gamer's life where he finally catches up to his library and he's looking for new stuff to play, and you're like, what's next? So I'm going to call that Steam Gems. So I'm going to help you guys find games that you probably don't know about that are good deals on Steam. Another series I'm going to come out with, which I have not named yet. It's going to cover more recent releases. I'm also, at first I'll start off with slightly older games to kind of practice my way into being able to get a game like near release and put out a review quick enough to where anyone would actually care about it. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Check out my other videos. Like, share, subscribe.